Unfolded Mysteries. Hello, Unfolded Mysteries family. Before we dive into today's video, I want to let you know that the names of the stories shared in this video have been changed to protect the privacy of individuals involved. The essence of each story remains intact, but any names mentioned are purely fictional. Respecting the privacy of individuals is of utmost importance to us, and we have taken this step to ensure that everyone's personal information is kept confidential. We appreciate your understanding and support in creating a safe and respectful space for everyone. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest videos. Now, let's jump into today's stories with the assurance that privacy is our top priority. Thank you for being a part of the Unfolded Mysteries community. In a remote, forgotten village nestled deep within the ancient Whispering Woods, there stood a derelict asylum. The locals avoided it like the plague, for they believed it was cursed by the tormented souls of its former inmates. It had become a place of dread and dread alone, where even the bravest dared not tread. On a stormy, moonless night, a group of paranormal investigators, led by the fearless skeptic Mark, gathered outside the asylum's crumbling entrance. Mark had long scoffed at the tales of the asylum's haunting, and he saw this expedition as an opportunity to debunk the legends once and for all. With their cameras and audio recording devices, the group ventured into the asylum's decaying hallways. The air was thick with the stench of decay, and the walls seemed to ooze with the asylum's grim history. Mark was determined to capture evidence that would put an end to the spine-chilling rumors once and for all. As they explored deeper into the asylum, they stumbled upon a room filled with patient records and disturbing medical equipment. The records revealed a horrifying tale of experimentation and cruelty, where the doctors had pushed the boundaries of sanity and ethics. The souls of those who had suffered here seemed to linger in the shadows, waiting to be heard. Just as the investigators delved into the dark history of the asylum, strange occurrences began to plague them. Lights flickered and doors slammed shut on their own. Disembodied voices whispered in the dark corners of the hallways, and spectral figures darted just out of sight. Mark remained steadfast in his skepticism, attributing these eerie events to natural causes. He urged his team to press on, but doubt had begun to creep into their minds. As they continued their investigation, they descended into the asylum's underground chambers, where a suffocating sense of dread hung in the air. In the dimly lit depths, they stumbled upon a room adorned with peculiar symbols etched into the walls by shaky hands. It was as if the patients had tried to ward off the malevolent forces that lurked within. But it was clear that their efforts had been in vain. Suddenly, one of the investigators let out a blood-curdling scream. His camera captured a ghastly apparition, a tortured soul from the past, its hollow eyes fixed on the living world. The entity seemed to reach out, its fingers grazing the investigator's face before vanishing into thin air. Mark's skepticism wavered, but he couldn't afford to admit defeat. The asylum seemed to come alive, its walls shifting and moaning as if it were a living, breathing entity. The investigators fought to escape the clutches of the asylum, but it was determined to keep them within its nightmarish grasp. Doors slammed shut, trapping them inside, and the temperature dropped to bone-chilling levels. An unearthly scream echoed through the chambers, causing the very foundations of the asylum to quake. The investigators were powerless against the supernatural forces that surrounded them. In the end, some managed to break free, their sanity forever scarred by the horrors they had witnessed. But Mark, the once skeptical leader, was not so fortunate. He remained trapped within the asylum, his beliefs shattered by the malevolent forces that had consumed him. And so, the derelict asylum continued to stand as a grim monument to the horrors of the past, its secrets preserved in the chilling footage captured by the investigators. It remained a place of dread and despair, waiting for the next group of explorers to unlock its terrifying mysteries and face the same haunting fate. In the quiet suburban neighborhood of Oak Ridge, there was a house that, for the vast majority of the year, remained as inconspicuous as any other. It blended into the community with its modest facade, hiding its true nature until October arrived. For a fleeting 2-year period, the house transformed into a pop-up haunted attraction that drew thrill seekers from all over the region. Unofficially known as Haunted Hill Housey, the attraction earned its peculiar moniker due to an oddly placed sign procured from a nearby party city, planted in front of what was essentially a grassy patch that was designated as a parking area. The sign added a touch of the macabre, spelling out the attraction's name in deliberately exaggerated and misspelled letters. It was this sign that beckoned people, enticing them to enter the mysterious world of Haunted Hill Housey. The parking area, more symbolic than practical, came to life each October, with the grass serving as the only parking space. This year marked the attraction's last hurrah, the end of an era that had entertained and frightened guests for 2 memorable years. It was during this farewell season that our story takes place. Our tale revolves around 4 friends, Matt, Michael, Eddie, and our protagonist. They venture to the Haunted Hill Housey on a chilly Thursday night. The uniqueness of college life allowed them to have Fridays off, making it the ideal time for a visit as the attraction would be less crowded than the weekends. Their journey to the house was uneventful, and as they arrived, they couldn't help but notice the absence of a line at the ticket stand. Even the line at the entrance was surprisingly short, with just a handful of people ahead of them. The anticipation grew with every step, but an unexpected twist awaited them as they reached the entrance. Only one person was allowed inside at a time. It was a perplexing development, one that they assumed would intensify the fear factor. With a touch of humor and some reluctance, they pushed Michael to lead the way. The tension in the line mounted as they realized they'd be left in suspense, not knowing what lay ahead. As our friends entered the attraction, they found themselves enveloped by darkness. The path was illuminated mainly by small, flickering lights that cast eerie shadows on the gruesome props, which included mutilated corpses and horrifying scenes. Actors in terrifying costumes would emerge sporadically, sending shocks of fear through the group. Each jump scare took them by surprise, and the atmosphere grew increasingly tense. However, things took a disturbing turn when our protagonist, while navigating a dark hallway, felt a presence behind them. A tall figure emerged from the shadows, pushing them further down the corridor. Initially, they thought it was part of the act, but the fear escalated as the figure's intentions remained unclear. The pushing ceased, and a door closed behind them, leaving our protagonist alone in the darkness. The realization that this was not part of the attraction sent shivers down their spine. With caution, they took out their phone against the rules and turned on the flashlight. What they saw in the dimly lit room was a tall figure dressed entirely in black, with a face mask covering half their visage. The figure was chillingly silent. As minutes passed, the situation remained unnerving. No one came to progress them through the attraction. This wasn't part of the act. Something was very wrong. Our protagonist, who hadn't set foot in a haunted house since childhood, began to panic. The darkness was suffocating, and the silence was deafening. Finally, they decided to use their phone to navigate back through the attraction, but the experience had been profoundly unsettling. They were haunted by the encounter with the enigmatic figure and its ominous presence. Part 4. Confronting the unknown. Emerging from the attraction, our protagonist rejoined their friends and reported the disturbing incident to the staff. They all felt a mixture of fear, confusion, and anger, unable to comprehend how this could have happened in a supposedly controlled environment. The next day brought shocking news. A fellow college student had posted on Facebook about her own horrifying experience at the same haunted house. It was an incident that bore eerie similarities to what our protagonist had gone through. She had been assaulted by someone who seemed to have infiltrated the attraction, raising questions about its security. The story spread like wildfire, and the attraction quickly became a subject of controversy and scandal. The victim pressed charges against the owner, alleging negligence in providing adequate security. The staff maintained that the assailant didn't work for the attraction, but the damage was done and the attraction was shut down that month. The unsettling events of that night left an indelible mark on our protagonist. It was a night they would never forget, one that would forever make them wary of haunted house attractions and remind them of the darkness that could lurk in the most unexpected places. This tale serves as a chilling reminder of the fine line between thrills and danger, and how the sinister can sometimes creep into the most seemingly innocent experiences. It explores themes of fear, the unknown, and the impact of traumatic events, echoing with a sense of unease that lingers long after the attraction has closed its doors. We hope you enjoyed those spine-tingling tales as much as we did. If you're still feeling a little spooked, don't worry, you're not alone. But before we say goodbye, we have a few things to ask of you. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you found these stories as chilling as we did. It really helps our channel. Subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't already. There are plenty more eerie adventures waiting for you right here, so you don't want to miss out. Share this video with your friends and fellow thrill seekers. After all, spooky stories are best enjoyed with company, right? That's a wrap for today, but stay tuned for more bone-chilling content in the future. Until next time, remember to keep your flashlight handy, your wits about you, and always be ready for the unexpected. Thanks for joining us on this haunting journey. Take care and may your nights be eerily entertaining. See you in the next video.